Greetings, I'm DonTheCrown, and while this isn't my first look at the trailer, yesterday we had a little bit of technical issues as I was watching it, and so kind of re-recording and talking about things, especially now that I've thought a little bit about everything that's coming out with the new Betrayal League. I just kind of want to go over it, give you some of my take on the trailer and some of the things that are revealed down in the site here. And there's been a couple of things that I've definitely thought about overnight. So let's watch the trailer here.
The ancient code of life and death is broken. A devious plan of necromancy, unrelenting and frighteningly efficient. They call themselves the Immortal Syndicate.
Now, I feel like this is one of the few spots where we actually kind of get a view. This is the first spot where you kind of get a view of people in the Syndicate, right? And so you have Gravicious, you have this bear guy, I think his name is Thame, and then two new characters, and then behind them is question marks, right? But the way this is kind of set up is there are the four leaders and a random person in the darkness. And if you're familiar with Path of Exile Masters at all, this seems to be Katarina, would be my guess. Something else to notice that. All right, so that was Rin, I think.
Have nothing to hide. Only strength matters.
There's Thame.
Go on, do it.
It's Iceland. But some of these zones can tell us some stuff. So it looks like there's people that are being executed or drained or something. You have to clear the map in a certain amount of time. So this is very similar to a Haku mission, but a Haku mission that is of the style that we like, where you're given a certain amount of time to clear a zone, and if you don't do it in time, people die or something happens. This might not be people, this might be manuscripts or something being burned or something. There's something about research, but there's definitely a clear speed element to it. But I think they've kind of learned a little bit from Incursion that if it's just clear speed, people are going to be annoyed. Because in Incursion, people were like, oh my gosh, I can only get half the Incursion done all of the time. It feels really bad. And so this isn't the primary mechanic, but it's one of the mechanics.
Betrayal. That's what I offer.
And so I think these veil things are also really neat, because the more you unlock them, the better you can craft. And of course they tease us here with one additional skeleton with this armor, soul gain prevention, and then one additional curse. It makes me wonder if you can apply 2 curses once this bar is maxed out, and exactly how many skeletons you can add. Is that going to be a 2 skeleton, a 5 skeleton, 10 skeleton mod? There could be some interesting things here, more than just that curse. Also, that armor rate could go way up, and that could be on a lot of different items, so... And the re-imaged master crafting looks really amazing. Mostly because as this item goes in, all of the options are prefix and suffix that you can put on there are separated. So it's kind of helping people understand how crafting works, and you can see the different tiers that are available. And you can also see that there's a number here. I actually just realized this. There's a 4, a 3. If we go back to this veiled item, You can see that none of these have numbers. I wonder if this is only like the tier 0 of this, and you can tier this up to like 4, 5, 20. So maybe it'll be like you can apply additional curse, and your curses have 10% increased effectiveness, 20% increased effectiveness. We don't necessarily know exactly what this is going to be, and I have seen some veiled mods that look like they have 2 lines, right? And that could just be like as it levels up, there's additional lines to this. So it could be very, very, very insane. New Masters, obviously, it feels like it's the Avengers movie, right? Where it's like, you've had a whole bunch of different Avengers with their own little separate movies, separate leagues. Some new skills kind of look kind of cool to get to the second. They have their own different leagues and stuff. Some of them were well received, some of them weren't. And then now this is the Avengers League, and this is the league where it's all going to come together. I think it's going to be really nice. I think this skill is called Shattering Steel, which I think is supposed to be like a physical frost blades for axes and swords. And this is the orb thing. PlayStation 4, new map. New map with like weirder, different mechanics here that you can kind of see. There's like these balls going around. We're not really sure what these do, but I wonder if like these things are deadly, right?
They claim they are immortal. We must prove they are not.
And tell them we do not have phones. I mean, what?
In the Betrayal League, you'll team up with Jun Ortoy to bring down the Immortal Syndicate. The Syndicate has 4 divisions, each with its own goals.
And so if you look at this particular, like this is the first image where we get to see the Syndicate Board. There's a whole bunch of different lines and strings here. And I don't think I've heard many people talk about the different colors, but like he'll later be like, oh yeah, some like when you go do things that people will like help their friends and potentially try to harm their enemies. You'll see that some of them have green lines. I think these are friendly. Yellow means that they're subordinate to, because you see that there's always yellow lines going down the line. Boom, 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 boom. And then the red lines are enemies. And of course there's hidden people, so you don't necessarily know who everybody is just yet. And I bet you that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's always going to be, I think, and there's 2 down here, so there's 13. There's always going to be a few of these cards that are people that are out of this particular round of the Syndicate. So maybe you want to farm Leo. Leo has some sort of amazing item, but he's out of the Syndicate. So you just want to blast through the Syndicate as fast as possible to get a brand new one.
Each with its own goals. Fortification, transportation, research, and intervention. In each area you will encounter a Syndicate member. Other members can show up to aid their friends or sabotage their enemies.
Sabotage their enemies, like I was saying.
When the battle is complete, you must
So you might have Syndicate members show up that are friendly to you.
To continue your investigation.
I had it all planned out. How could I lose?
I'm better than this.
Bargain, execute, interrogate, and even induce them to betray each other.
Starve the beast. We'll not break it.
Your goal is to gain intelligence leading to the captains of each division. Raid their safe houses to pillage their supplies and uncover the ultimate identity of the Immortal Syndicate's.
This is also the first time that we've seen where we're attacking an item that doesn't break instantaneously, right? Because like you're attacking the door, and you can see there's like little kind of sentry turret.
And uncover the ultimate identity of the Immortal Syndicate's mastermind. Each Syndicate member stores different item types in their safe house living quarters. High-ranked members will have better items. Each division has a different twist on item rewards. You will want to manipulate the Syndicate, maneuvering certain members into positions that are going to be the most rewarding for you. Syndicate members can drop veiled items. Take these to Jun and pick one of 3 options for the...
And so, like, it looks like veiled items like can be rares even, right? So this is like a kind of a different take on what they've been doing with like kind of bestiary a little bit and incursion, where it has special mods. And I don't know if this is a prefix or a suffix, right? I see 4 mods here.
Items. Take these to Jun and pick one of 3 options.
This one's got like, looks like 4 mods, and then you can get a veiled mod. I kind of wonder like what spot these fill, and if they are in a prefix or suffix, can you add them like as a 7th mod?
The veiled mod. In Betrayal, the old cohort of Forsaken Masters have mysteriously vanished.
Mysteriously.
Together, Einhar, Alva, Nico, Jun, and Zana have taken over as the new masters. Their league content has become the new master missions, including a simplified version of Bestiary where Einhar will net beasts for you. This expansion contains many other features, such as master crafting that doesn't require grinding master levels, a unified hideout system, such as master crafting that doesn't...
So we were looking at this before. You see the different levels of these. The non-vol skills deal more damage. You have onslaught during soul gain prevention. Doesn't seem to have any tier to it.
Levels, a unified hideout system, and new skills. Check out pathofexile.com/betrayal to find out more.
Yeah, so all of that looks really cool. And then like this first panel doesn't really tell us much more. This is just like the new NPC. I don't really feel like this panel tells us all that much either. It has like some information where you can kind of see pictures of the different parts of the game that'll be coming out. It looks kind of neat. Next up, like the Syndicate Board. My only concern with the Syndicate Board is that this thing's going to be something we have to like look at all the time. But I guess if you're like, okay, I want to farm Gravicius, I'm always going to try to level up Gravicius as much as possible. And you can kind of see like this progress bars. Like I wonder... So you see how like all of these guys have progress bars. I think this is towards the safe house. At which point does the Syndicate become available to end? Where I'm like, alright, I'm done with this Syndicate. I just want to kill the end boss. Does that reset everything? Or can you continue to go after all of the safe houses? Do you have to flip it over? Because one of the things that really annoyed me about Incursion was like, alright, I just need one more level up of one of these 3 rooms and I'll be good to go. And it'll be like the last Incursion would give me a room way over on the side that I didn't care about. I'm like, no, Alva, let's not go back in time just yet. Let's do like 5 more incursions and we'll get all these rooms leveled up. No, you have to go run the temple now. I hope we have control over when we get to go after the boss to reset the whole thing. Rating the Syndicate Stronghouses. This particular part, I think it'll be kind of interesting. There's different like kind of boss mechanics going on here with different loot. I hope this is also a little bit indicative of things that we can add to our own hideouts. Like I see a lot of wall decoration, which we haven't seen before. And different statues, I think a little bit. And like different ground coverings. So I'm hoping that they're adding a lot of home decor. I know this is kind of off topic, but I think it was Parandus League. We had a flashback event where they added a whole ton of decor accidentally to the vendors. Like they had these awesome Haku like lava totem things that you could buy. And I hope that they've been just, and they reverted all that stuff. They took it all out of people's hideouts. I hope that they've been working on adding cool new decorations this entire time. Veiled items, we've talked about this a little bit. You see a whole bunch of different mods. Clearly you can level them up, and I'm wondering like what happens when you level them up past certain tiers. Like you can see here, the movement speed and cannot be chilled is on there. Is that just from leveling up movement speed? Same thing with this, like is the original mod here +1 melee weapon and unarmed range, and then the higher you level it up, the higher that melee damage can roll? That would be cool. So once again, we have the Avengers movie here coming in, and you know, some of these were well received, some of them were not, and yeah, like I would love to see somebody make some fan art of these guys being the Avengers. Streamlined master crafting is pretty cool. You can definitely see the leveled up movement speed. The unified hideout system I think is going to be really neat. They kind of mentioned today that it's going to be a locally saved file, which can be kind of good, kind of bad. So you can't trade your hideout, right? I wish that you could trade your hideout. And like Chaz's question, like, does leveling up +1 totem get you +3 at some point? It might, or it might get you more damage with totems or something, right? I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but I think that there's going to be a reason why you're going to continuously leveling up some of those enchants. But it would be really cool if you could like actually in-game trade hideouts, because right now the second you give your hideout file to somebody else, they can just whoop, duplicate it on Reddit for everybody. And that kind of feels a little bad. New endgame maps is pretty cool. They're reworking the entire atlas. Rip to my friend Engineer Eternity, who's been putting like 100 hours into an atlas guide. Hopefully he's getting some inside information to update his video appropriately. Also new layouts for the maps, which I think is pretty cool. Different directions, different shapes and everything. And I just think it was interesting to keep adding maps, but they have to find a way to make it so that people just don't find the best map and just run it all the time. There has to be reasons why people go around, and they've kind of mentioned this with masters. But if you don't care about master crafting, I can't tell you the number of people who just completely ignore master crafting now and just have other people do services for them and just like run maps like crazy. Next up, Revamped Skills. All of this stuff, like all of the stuff so far, like Ice Nova, Arctic Breath, and Tectonic Slam, Ice Spear, and Vortex. We'll see how these go. Sometimes the new skills are really amazing. Sometimes they need some work. Spectral Shield Throw, looking at you. Shattering Steel. I think this looks... I can't tell if this is physical Frost Blades or if this is attack EK. Will have to be seen. But this Shattering Steel part right here, it's kind of hard to see, but it has a chance to impale, a new effect which stores some physical damage taken by the enemy and deals it again when hit. So I think if they nerf stat sticks, we're just going to be impaling instead. And I think this is how they want to nerf stat sticks, is that they want to make impale very strong. And I'd be fine with that. Like if that's how they want to move, that would be great. Next up, Lancing Steel, another thing that kind of feels like a little bit like a melee shrapnel shot. It also has impale. Banners seem neat. I'm just not sure how these are going to work. Also, I'm kind of concerned that even in my build where I don't have a ton of buttons, I don't really have a good spot for a banner. So we're having a lot of button issues, I feel, and just adding more things that every character is going to want. Like, I feel like this is going to be the new golem. I don't run a golem because A, it's a pain in the butt to summon it up all the time, and B, I don't really want to put it on the bar and cast it. I wonder if banners will be used for anything other than bossing in a tiny arena. Next thing up, brands. I feel like they're trying to make brands as a way that where self-casting feels good again, but it's not like just by making traps or mines bad, right? They're just making it different in a different way. Because I'm pretty sure you won't be able to trap out a brand, because that would be really ridiculous. But if you can trap brands, then trap brand will probably be a really, really OP skill. Last but not least, Winter Orb looks kind of cool. Pretty much you like channel it up and you like fill this power siphon above your head, and then it starts blasting out all of these like bolts, which appear to chill. It could be really nice, especially doing like cast when channeling Winter Orb into other cold skills, because it seems like Winter Orb also chills things for you, so you could run Hypothermia in there. So Hypothermia is doing more damage for your Winter Orb and doing more damage for whatever you're cast when channeling. It'd be a pretty good support. Last but not least, but we had the new powerful items. Crimson Storm looks pretty neat. I love how the flavor text really hints at how this bow is to be used. Pretty much there's a high chance to inflict bleeding. And then the base damage of the bow is pretty meh, but then it gives you a ton of physical damage against bleeding enemies. And so it's really trying to push home, like, here is a physical bow that is good, not because we're adding 1,000 projectiles to it. And so I kind of feel like physical bows, physical wands, physical attacks, period, have not been really in meta. And it really feels like they're trying to push the meta back towards physical a little bit, which has been nice. And yeah, I know people have been scaling physical, but then they've been using Shaper stat sticks to make it OP, right? Now, granted, I'm pretty sure a Shaper necklace and Essence rings would work with this. So that would probably, this would probably be a pretty nice bow. I wouldn't be surprised to see this selling for a decent amount of cash. Vivisect, I think this is pretty decent. It kind of depends on what kind of veiled mods you can get, but assuming that darkness running goes core, this is going to be an amazing item for just doing kind of budget darkness running, assuming this is a budget ring. But you can slap in like a Grace Aura or something in there, really help bump up that Queen of the Forest as a budget. Also, that flat life regeneration for pretty much all of your gear makes it so you don't need a Watcher's Eye anymore. So you can just go out and get one of those Watcher's Eye that reduces your cooldown duration or something, and be able to do some different things. Solstice Visual, I'm not really impressed with this. You know, the increased damage is eh. The life and mana regeneration is eh. Temporal chains having reduced mana reservation is also eh. It really kind of depends on what that Shaper's presence is. However, that's not going to help you for bossing, so it's not something that really interests me all that much. What I am interested about is, where does this drop? If this drops off Shaper, that means that there's new Shaper drops. If this drops off Uber Elder, that means there's new Uber Elder drops. There might be new reasons for you to farm some of the endgame bosses, which, if you know from my nearly 500 Uber Elder kills this league, kind of interested. Last but not least, the new supporter packs. I think both look pretty amazing. I kind of get like Rayman feels from the purple one, and I really like the white and blue one is really nice as well. And I'll probably end up getting both. But that's kind of like my first take here on just the announcement and all of the things that they're bringing to us. And I hope you enjoy that. I'll definitely be talking about this more, both probably on YouTube, but also my Twitch channel. You can follow me at twitch.tv/DonTheCrown. Thank you very much.